Hello Year 11 and welcome back to your second online history lesson. This time it's on the harrying of the North, and I've got a funky lightsaber pointer this time. Same as always, you need to complete this work in your own time, whether you are sticking to your timetable and doing lessons as you would on a timetable a normal school day, or if you're doing this at 6 a.m. in your pajamas while eating your breakfast, that's fine. Either way, you need to be spending at least 50 to 60 minutes on this. This is a full lesson's worth of work. I will be creating yet another hand-in folder for the work that needs doing. Well done to the 6 of you who have already done the previous lesson and have handed it all in. If you do have any problems with anything, then let me know. And as always, as I'm going through, I will be setting out the tasks for you, telling you what it is you need to be completing, etc. And then you need to pause it, get the activities done, and then move on to the next task. So if we start then, what is happening in this picture? Well, it is a scene from the Bayeux Tapestry. These two people here are Norman, and they are actually setting fire to a church. So a mother and her son are being evacuated or running away from the church, while 2 Normans actually set the church on fire. So once you've got the date and the title sorted, what you need to be doing then, if your target is between a 2 and a 4, why? Why do you think he would set fire to a church and to houses, etc.? Link it back to what you did last lesson, and if you haven't done the previous lesson yet, you need to make sure you get that done, otherwise this lesson won't make sense. And then what would be the reaction of the Anglo-Saxon nobles, and what about the Norman nobles? What do you think would be the reaction to this event, to Norman soldiers setting fire to houses and Anglo-Saxon churches? So the purpose of our lesson today, we're looking at the causes and the results of the harrying of the North. Now, the causes link into what you did yesterday. If you've looked at the rebellions already and you've completed the work that you were supposed to do on the rebellions, then you already know that the rebellions in the North is one of the key causes of the harrying of the North. Then you need to look at what happened during it and the impact of it, the results of it, because it's all to do with this, William securing his power over England. We've talked at various points during this unit of how William is in power, but not necessarily in control at each stage. He wins the Battle of Hastings. Is he in control at that point? He becomes King of England on Christmas Day, 1066. He's in, power, but is he in control by then? Then you have the rebellions. So that is how all of this links together. It's all about him securing and consolidating, bringing together his power over England. And as always, the success criteria, again, the differences between describing, explaining, and evaluating. If your target is a 3 or a 5, 6, 7, or an 8, it depends on how well you do each of these things. And once again, I cannot emphasize enough how it is the detail that is important. Detailed, mostly relevant. If you move up to carefully selected, actual names, actual dates, expanding on things just a little bit, remember, you've got to imagine that the examiner is stupid. Imagine they know nothing. Never, ever, ever take for granted that the examiner knows what you're talking about. So your second activity, this is a source that we have looked at before. We looked at this a couple of lessons ago. You actually have it stuck in your book. Well, some of you have it stuck in your book. Some of you have it flapping around in your book because you haven't stuck any sheets in yet. So we looked at this in terms of what it tells us about William being king, what it tells us about him as the leader of this country. And you talked about how it shows his ruthlessness, etc. Now I want you to focus on it from the perspective of the harrying of the North. What does this source tell you? What can you learn? What can you infer from this source about the harrying of the North? Now, Odoric Vitalis had a Norman father and an English mother. So he's pretty much the best of both worlds, if you'd like. So what reasons does he have for being so angry at William? Go through the source. So if your target is a 2 to a 5, you should be able to do this one. And if you're a 6 and above, you should be able to do the purple, please. Okay, so that should have given you long enough now to start looking at this source. If you're looking at it from the point of view of the green question, what does this source tell you about the harrying of the North? You should be able to have picked up on details about how big the damage is, how long lasting the damage is, what has been damaged, why it has been damaged, etc. If you're looking at it from the point of view of the purple question, you should have been able to focus on especially the last line. You get the impression that Odoric Vitalis believes William has gone far too far this time. So you should be able to pull evidence out from the source explaining why Vitalis thinks he's gone too far. Okay, for this activity then, you need to get the worksheet open that goes alongside this lesson. It will be in the Google Drive folder alongside this lesson. Now, I know full well that when I tell people to read stuff and to highlight stuff, they think that highlighting is just another word for colouring. Well, Mr. Dixon and I think long and hard about how we can get you to engage in reading activities, reading for a point, reading to actually gain information from it. And so we have to go a bit further than just highlighting sometimes. And Mr. Dixon went on a course and found this. Found all the things that you can do while you are actually reading some text to be able to get your brain working while reading it. So while you're reading the worksheet, and it is a two-sided, a very long worksheet, but it contains an awful lot of stuff. While you're reading it, jot down some questions in the margin or on a piece of paper. For example, where is the North? Circle any puzzling words or phrases. Circle anything that you aren't sure about. If you notice any bits in the text that link together, you can draw some arrows to link things together. Underline any points you agree with. You can zigzag if there's an opinion that you don't agree with. Put a box around anything that shows a main idea. Put a tick next to anything you find interesting. Question mark next to anything you find confusing. Put a flash, like a piece of lightning, next to anything that you think has an impact. Draw a mouth next to anything you want to discuss with me. An exclamation mark next to anything that gives you an idea. An anchor next to anything that reminds you of something else. Or a smile next to anything you like for whatever reason. Now, if you do any of those activities while reading the text, okay, if you are able to do something like that, it means your brain is engaging with what you are reading. You're not just reading it and highlighting it to colour it in just at face value. You actually have to be able to use and analyse this work. So to do that, I suggest 3, maybe 4 of these things. If you get up to using all of them, that's absolutely brilliant. So go and find the worksheet now. Go and find the information sheet now. Open it, save it to your area, and then start reading. Now, I am going to see if I can find a video to go alongside this. The documentary I wanted you to watch on the harrying of the North, what I tried to get you to watch for homework, has been deleted. So I am going to trawl through Dailymotion as well as YouTube to see if I can find it again. But from the information you've just read and from what you've just done, you now should be able to answer these questions. If your target is up to a 5, you should be able to answer all the greens. If your target is up to a 9, you should be able to answer all of these questions. Even if your target's a 5 and you want to have a go at the purple, absolutely fine. If you want to keep pushing yourself, that is brilliant. So from what you've read, from the research you've done, from the homework you've done, you should be able to answer all of these questions. And like I said, if your target is up to a 5, you're looking at the green questions and then you can push for purple. If your target is up to a 9, you really need to do all of these questions. And the last thing I'd like you to do, please, is an actual exam question. Now, it is a describe 2 features of. So describe two features means give two facts about. So give two facts about the harrying of the North. Then you need to develop them with some own knowledge, okay? Some detailed information. So state two facts about the harrying of the North, two completely separate facts, and back up each one with a piece of detailed evidence. As you can see, they're marked separately. So 1 mark is given for each valid feature. So all you could do is state 3 facts. So you would only ever get 2 marks. You get the 2nd mark awarded where you get the detailed supporting information. So it is a 4 marker. You know that should take you between 4 and 6 marks to answer it. If you're still writing after 10, you are writing far too much. So the last activity I would like you to do for this lesson, please, is answer that exam question.